Hello everyone, welcome and thank you for dropping by and watching my video. So today we're gonna go through an update on how my account is doing for this season. So it's already like a day and a half left, and we're at rank 1-4, rating of 1457, which is great because that's a silver 2 ranking. So if we're gonna look at the rank levels, our rating is somewhere here. But yeah, if you're wondering why I'm still at bronze, is because I don't have enough power, and I didn't really want to rent any more cards at the moment. I'm trying to save up some DEC. I'm considering buying some cards in the market, but I'm still thinking, what to buy. The prices are still going up, really. But anyway, so back to the power. So the plan is, I plan to rent a gold card just to get to the silver rank and get that pending season reward for the season close. I can probably do it now, but not now. I'm gonna do it after my recording, so I'll probably do that. The only reason why I didn't want to rank up at the moment is because if you go up to a higher tier, so let's open it up. So just to quickly explain it. If you go up to a higher tier, it opens up some summoner level limits, and that's something that my account currently cannot handle if you're trying to fight against players that have these types of summoners. So if they have summoners, common summoners, they can have level 5 common summoners, they can have level 4, they can have level 3, level 2. If we go to bronze, the only thing that I'm going to be worrying about would be those 3, 2s, and 1s. So that means I don't have to deal with cards that are overpowered at a higher level, because for me, my deck is only good enough for bronze. It may be good enough for silver 3, but I think it's as far as it can go. You'll have a hard time, and even I'm currently having a hard time sometimes trying to fight against legendary summoners like Yodin, Alama. Those are insane. I mean, Yodin is insane. If you fight a Yodin, you just better pray that you have enough HP for everyone in your lineup to survive those explosions. For Llama, it's just stupid. Llama, they need to nerf Llama at some point, because the Llama Kron combination and the Llama Golem combination is just stupidly insane. I've had games where a Llama Golem just completely wiped out my entire team, which is stupid. I don't know. They should think of a way to nerf that, because at these levels, it's really hard to fight against those. No, not unless I have a decked out set as well. So unfortunate, but that's how life is, right? So right now, so as I mentioned later, I'll try to rank up so I can get the rewards. And I've heard that in the next season, whatever your final rank is at the end of that season will be your will be the reward that you'll be getting. In the current setup is whatever highest you reach. So that's why I'm going to try to push for silver 1, hopefully, if I can, so I can get 18 instead of 9. That would be great. Alright, so next I want to go through the cards that actually help me out in playing the bronze. I know a lot of people are still questioning, like, how am I supposed to go through bronze and silver, right? So it's gonna be tough. So for me, I can vouch for you on bronze on what works and what doesn't work, and I can go through that by splinter. So we're gonna do a quick run through, right? So I think right now, in terms of this current account that I have, my favorite is fire and death. These two decks are pretty strong, and I think fire is in a way stronger, but I guess it depends on the scenario that you're fighting, depending on the situation. So it's conditional. Sometimes fire will win, sometimes death will win, But in my perspective, these two splinters are my favorite. Then I also love life, but I'll get into that later a bit. So let's go first into fire. Why I love fire. So the basic deck that you have in fire, for me, if it's a low cost, you can always go for Cerberus, Serpentine Spy, and Kobold Miner. These 3 cards are pretty strong. And depending on the splinter that you use, it could be the Haste Boy or the guy with the plus melee damage. Sometimes if you fight against fire, Haste Boy will probably destroy you if you use the other guy. If you use the same build, this Serpentine Spy, if he gets the advantage to attack first, this will destroy you completely. So that's why you need to be careful deciding, read through your enemies, what exactly are they using and such. And sometimes I also use Fire Beetle at the back end, because these Fire Beetle helps out, stave off the damage coming from stealth units. I mean sneak units. So sometimes sneaks, they can one-shot your backline units. So sometimes I would use this because it has 4 HP. And Goblin Shaman is also one of the staple units that I use. So these are the staple guys that I would normally use in a game. And also this guy, if you have enough mana, you can probably go for Leaving Lava. And if there are more mana, I would normally go for Living Lava, then Phineas Rage for the additional damage. Then I would go for the rest of the guys down here. So those are the things that I did. Ifrit Elder, sometimes if I have a lot of mana, I'll probably put him in the back line. This guy has helped me win games because of his last stand. So sometimes he's the only guy that would be left in the entire field, and he would carry me to win that game. So if you have enough mana, sometimes you can put him in. He's a good card. For this guy, Pyromaniac looks good, but I think the only part that I didn't like is the cost. It's 6. It's really hard to put him into the deck. So that's why I couldn't put him in at the moment. Maybe I'll try to experiment on him moving forward. He looked nice, that's why I rented him. But I guess, it didn't work. So if you're gonna rent a card, this card is a no-brainer, I think. This card is pretty strong. 5 speed, 2 attack, 8 HP. It costs a lot, but it has reach, and that would be good enough to deal a lot of damage against the enemy. You might imagine like there's 3 damage, attacking at the back part, and it's a very great card. I see a lot of guys using Fire Elemental and Spark Pixies, but not my cup of tea. I never really liked them. Yeah, so that's pretty much for Fire. That's all you need. The core cards are actually very strong currently. So if you're gonna use these cards for mana, like 20, 23 at max, maybe these basic sets, you can go for maybe Leaving Lava, then go for these Serpentine, Kobold, and Shaman. Then you can do that combination. Then if you have a bit more mana, you can consider putting Phineas. And for small mana fights, like of course your Cerberus would almost always be the prime tank that you're going to be using. But these guys are staple. The only thing that you really need to be careful of are other enemies would have that has opportunity that can take this guy out. So you can probably think of maybe a different card that would help keep their eyes off this card. But I don't think there are any other cards with 1 HP. Oh yeah, there is this one, but yeah, it's too expensive. Alright, that's it for Fire. So let's go for Death. Why I love Death. Death has the best tank in my perspective, best free tank in all of the set. The Haunted Spirit is really great. It's like it's a perfect staple. Low mana fight, Haunted Spirit. High mana fight, Haunted Spirit. It's a really strong card. 2 damage, heal, and 7 HP for 5 mana. Superb. Another favorite of mine is Twisted Jester. Love this guy. Always put him at the back end, and the snipe really helps a lot. And this guy is also my favorite, Undead Priest. Not my favorite, but one of my favorites. So these guys normally go in tandem, but if it's a really low mana fight, I would just pick this guy, and of course these. Skeleton Assassin and the Undead Badger. These 2 guys are really good too. You just need to position them properly because they're low HP. So sometimes explosions or units with opportunity would take them out if they have lower speeds compared to the enemies. So that's the only risk you have. But at low mana fights, it's really these guys can really carry you. And of course, my favorite is Zentaur because of the less melee damage. Of course, it's useful at the moment, but of course, the higher you go, I don't know. Sometimes I don't even want to use him anymore. But because you face a lot of enemies with a lot of damage in terms of magic and range, so sometimes his skill doesn't work well in the higher levels. So yeah, but in the lower levels, definitely I highly recommend. I love this guy. Always use him in bronze, and even in silver, I still use him. And I don't think it's gonna be usable in gold anymore. Or I mean, he's usable, but it's not gonna be as beneficial. because of the higher rank units, higher damage units. So the more levels the unit have, the more HP they have. So I don't know, so I can't really comment on that. All right, so next card that I really like is this guy. Death Elemental is really strong. The only problem really that you have with death units is the same problem that you have with the fire units, is that they're all like a 1 HP, 2 HP. So if you put this guy in and the same guy that in fire, like you'll put them in 1 HP. That's why these guys are really good, because they'll snipe off those units. So you combine, if you have low mana, you combine this Hunted Spirit, Undead Priest, Undead Badger, and Skeleton Assassin. You'll wipe off some backline units just in an instant. So they work really well together. It's just that it's a matter of who attacks first. So sometimes, as I've mentioned, Haste Boy would be probably better at some situations, but sometimes maybe not. But of course, you have to be very flexible. You don't have to be always fixed on these guys, but these guys have helped me out. If you have an extra 1 mana, of course you have to put the Cursed Slime Ball. If you don't have the other slime that slows the enemy, if you have the other slime, then I'd recommend you rent that. But if you don't, then you use this guy. It's just, additional meat shield. Phantasm is a card that recently I've been, seeing some how do you call it? Some value, because before I really just ignored this card because it doesn't have armor, and I mean, sometimes flying is just sometimes doesn't really work at all. But lately I've noticed that this guy is pretty strong. I've faced some fights against Death that use this as a primary tank, and my guys just kept missing him for some reason. And this guy carried sometimes. So sometimes I use this guy if I have enough mana, or I'm in the mood to use the different tanks apart from Hunted Spirit. Bone Golem is only good if you know that your enemy is gonna be going for going for magic. Now, for another summoner that is really good is Ouster. If you manage to rent this guy at a low price, he's really good against magic. So yeah, I used him when I see enemies that are using the water deck. So because water deck tends to be almost always magic. But if you see an enemy that uses a lot of magic in most of his fights, in the past maybe 5 or 6 fights, then definitely you'll try to consider using this guy just to counter him. But sometimes it doesn't work. I use this guy to counter some enemies, and I just still lose because I didn't have enough damage to take out the tank. I had the magic reflect damage to take out all of his backline units, but when the tank was left, I didn't have enough damage to kill the tank, and the tank just rolled over my entire deck. So you really need to consider what you use. Probably, I've mentioned earlier, most of the units here are really like one-shot type units. So you gotta be careful, and they're 1 damage, right? So that's another thing. If you have a tank that has an armor that reduces damage, you're screwed, right? These guys are not gonna do anything. So you need to consider that. Phantom Soldier is actually pretty nice, but the thing is, it's so expensive, so I can only use it on a case-to-case basis. Even Octopider is also good. As I'm only using him mostly on high mana fights. If there's no other options, I'll use these guys as meat shields. This one at the back, this one at the front sometimes. So they're good. Soulstorm is also good because it has 5 speed, incredible, and he has flying, so this guy can evade quite a bit. But the thing is, it's only 2 health. So if an enemy has a sniper with magic damage like this guy and has 2 damage, this guy's done. It's like an instant death. So you have to keep that in mind, and the cost is a lot, but in exchange it does a lot of damage. And it's really fast and high evasion, which is pretty nice. So sometimes I do use it, but yeah, it's case to case situational. There's also Green Reaper, but it's too expensive and the life is too small. I don't know. I don't really like using him. For the other guys, I guess for me they're like filler cards. Like Vampire, he always keeps dying whenever I use him, so I stopped using this guy. Because he's 1 shot, he always gets 1 shot. So never mind. He looked good before, but when I tried using it in actual application, we can't use it at all. So anyway, so next, my next two favorites are water and life. So we'll go last for life because that's my favorite deck at the moment. So for water, well, the easiest reason is because you have Alric, and Alric gives bonus magic damage to all your magic damage units. So the key units that you would normally use here would be this guy, Ice Pixie. Medusa I don't really like. It's Medusa, and the same with the other neutral card. But I guess it's because of the lack of having magic units, I just end up using it sometimes. But if I have other options, I'll probably just end up using Water Elemental. This is strong. This is a strong backline unit, and it's also good for situational cases like poison and earthquake. So this guy can survive those. So I really like this guy. Very, very useful. Kelp Initiate is really great as meat shield, and it's only 2 mana with 5 health. It will save you many times. I use this as front and backline defense, so really case to case depending. If I have enough mana left, then I'll probably use I always have Kelp to use. Torhilo is really case to case as well. If you're only fighting against magic, only Torhilo will be great. But if you're fighting against non-magic units, tendencies, this guy melts. And it costs a lot, so I still need it because sometimes you might face enemies with high magic damage output, so you really need this guy to be there. He will really tank a lot of damage. This guy is actually my favorite in the water deck. I highly recommend using this card because of the double damage attack. I mean, not the double damage attack, it double strike. I mean, double strike attack. So really useful. Won me a lot of games. Sometimes I even use him at low mana fights. Like I would put a Kelp, or I would put the Spineback Turtle and just put him in the back line. That's it. That's all he does. He'll just take out everything. And I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes not, but still, that guy's great. So that's my favorite card. Sea Monster. Wow. This card is no good for almost any fights in my experience. This guy almost always dies before it even attacks at the first round, which is unfortunate. Because of the high mana cost, I'm not able to use him most of the time, and whenever I use him, he just dies completely and without doing anything. And I don't know. It's been recommended a number of times. I mean, the stat is good, but the mana is too much in my opinion, and the heal is great. And I don't know. I'm still mixed with Sea Monster, but it has been recommended quite a bit. There is also another card that I would probably recommend as part of Magic deck. It's a neutral card. I don't have it here. I'll try to check it later. I'll show you. So right now, these are my favorites, and these can help you carry you. This can carry you games. Right? This guy can help you carry games, right? And the low mana ones, this one is key. Albatross, don't laugh on it. This guy is also key to help you stave off some damage. All right. So yeah, before I forget, Spineback Turtle is also great for low mana fights. So low mana tank, this is one of the best low mana tanks that you can have, like 6 health and 2 armor. Really great to tank a lot of damage. So really need that. The other cards here for me is too expensive. Sniping Snarwhal, Tortician Fighter, so weak, and Feasting Seaweed. You mean 4 mana for 2/2? So weak, and then there's only 1 speed. No good. It's no good. Can't use that. This one is okay. But I mean, right now, I mean, if you're Alric, right, you wouldn't even focus on this guy. You would look into magic cards as much as you can. But you have to be flexible, as I mentioned. You know, not all the time you need to focus on magic, right? In cases you might not need to use a magic card. All right, so you have to think about that when you're fighting your fights. So now let's go to my favorite deck. There's only one card here that I would want to highlight. This card, Silver Shield Assassin. This is probably the best MVP card I've ever used. From bronze to silver, this card is great. When you go to silver, I would really recommend you level up this card find and rent a card at what level was that? You need to get this to 2 damage. Here, level 3. Level 3 would do this card great. And if you find a level 4 that's also cheap, that would be great because of the force beam. This guy or this girl will wipe out sets. A set of cards. Wipe out an entire team. I've done it many times. For low mana, you can combo this guy and this guy. So these two are like a superb duo. The only main counter against these guys, in my perspective, is Crowling. Crowling is everywhere, unfortunately. So you really need to check if your enemy has Crowling or not. All right. So that's the only disclaimer I have. If they have Crowling, don't use this deck, because tendency is there's a good chance this deck will die. And the way I build the life deck is always so get a high level summoner first. So either this one or the grandma. Where's the grandma summoner? Oh, there she is. Where did you go? Anyways, so probably missed it somewhere. So yeah, she's down here. Oh, anyways, so just get a level 4 or level 3 summoner, then you can use this guy. All right, so that's all you need to do. Get it and make them work. And what else? This guy is also being rented cheap. So at high level fights, high mana fights, this guy is very strong. I really love using Silver Shield's Sheriff, but not all the time useful. But yeah, Evangelist I'm not able to use much because my primary build is almost always for high mana. You can go for Shield Bearer, go for Sheriff, go for Assassin, then go for Shield Knight, then go for Luminous Eagle. Eagle is quite strong. At 6 mana for 2 damage, 5 health, and flight and reach, that's a steal. And if you get a higher rank, a higher level card for this one, it gives you 3 damage. Oh yeah, even at level 2 it will already give you 3 damage, which is great. This card is fantastic. So that card is strong. In the base set, for example, if you want to use this at low mana fights, then of course you have to use the Feral Spirit. Which is great because of the 4 speed. It's like the skeleton guy, similar to the setup. What else? This card is also great for case-to-case basis as well. Giving a lot of shield to all of your team is really great. The only downside is this guy has 1 health, so it can be sniped by magic units if they have the snipe ability. So you gotta be careful. But yeah, definitely you have to rent this guy if you can. They're not cheap. They're cheap. They should be expensive to rent. Level 1 of these are not that expensive. Oh wow, it's 2 deck TECs. Okay, all right, they're not that cheap, but it's still good. It's still good. I suggest you use this. 2.6 DEC. Probably do it once you're earning quite a bit of DEC. Probably in Bronze 2, Bronze 1, where you're getting at least maybe 3 to 8 DEC a day. Per fight, you should be good enough to rent this guy. So make sure to use it if you plan to use life. So yeah, so that's the deck. Those are the cards that I really use. Also, don't forget for Dragon. Alright, I don't have anything on Dragon. Wait, we're in card rentals. Hang on. This guy, if you always rent this guy for case to case as well, because you would have to be in a situation where it's Earthquake. So this guy is cheap. I highly recommend you rent this guy just for Earthquake situations. And that's for Dragon. There are other good Dragon cards here, but at low level they're not really that strong, so I'm not really recommending much. This guy is also pretty okay, but I never rented it. This guy is great at higher levels. This guy is pretty strong, but yeah, so Dragons I'm not gonna recommend much because I don't really have much experience. For Earth, well, alright, let's go to card sets. I have a level 4 Earth in my other deck, and unfortunately it's not really as strong as I would have hoped. Alright, so the best card actually for Earth, when if you have the money to really rent it, is the Flesh Golem at level 3. But the problem is, it's so expensive that I couldn't even rent it. See? Level 3. I mean, that's insane. That's insane. 92, 98, 18, I mean 92, 89, 89. It's so expensive. But the value of this card is because of the heal. And this is what I mentioned, like if you're fighting against Llama and Llama Golem, you're dead. This guy will really tank and eat you up. So this is a strong card if you manage to rent this. If you're rolling in DEC, sure, why not? Go ahead, rent it. But if not, then I don't really recommend. You're gonna it's gonna eat up a lot of your budget. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in silver it's possible, because in silver you're earning like how many, like 10 to 20 DECs, right? So maybe you do like 10 fights a day, 10 wins just to earn this back. I don't know if it's worth it, but we'll see. I never considered that part. Alright, let's go back. The UI sometimes is a mess. When you keep going to different tabs, it takes you somewhere else. So what I did in my other deck is I leveled this guy up, because if you level this guy up, I mean, I rented them, right? I rented the higher level ones because this goes to free damage. This guy is also pretty good if you get him to a really high level, but at level 4, nothing really special. So there's but I think if you go at level 6, this guy's gonna be awesome. This guy is also great if you can get a level 4, if I remember. Yes, if you can get a level 4, this thing is awesome. But the thing is, if you get a level 4, you're paying a lot. Same problem. Is there a level 4? There's a level 4, and it's 99. 99. Alright. And level 3 will give you 2 damage. It's not worth it to pay for 44. Okay. Alright, so let's go back to cards. Okay. Alright. Alright, so what are the good cards? This guy, level this guy up. Get a level 4 card for this one. Level 4, level 3, I forgot. Then get level 4, level 3 for this one too. And I don't know if this guy is good at a higher level. Level 4, if you get a level 4. I don't think this guy's cheap at level 4, because I don't have it. Oh, there's nothing. Nobody's renting it. Alright, nobody's renting a level 4, no wonder. Okay. So you managed to buy a card, maybe you can put that at level 4. Because the reason why I like these cards is because for the nature card or earth card, they're good for low mana fights. Although they're a bit more expensive compared to certain counterparts that they have, like with fire and death. But the damage and the HP is well worth it. Even for this one, and it's magic and it's stealth. It's a really awesome card. And this guy is also like 5 damage, and you get a 2 damage here. That's really strong. Like a snipe, you can just take out one of their cards, and that might be a key card, right? And in terms of silver level fights, I see this guy a lot, so much, and sometimes this guy can actually carry at some point. So that guy is also good. Yeah, that's pretty much about it. What I know about nature cards. So let's go to neutral. So I think it's obvious for neutral. It's recommended you have a sandworm. Sandworm, I don't think it's expensive to rent, so if you can rent it, go ahead. Really strong card. No question. If you're able to use it, go ahead. The only downside is that it has 1 health. Yeah, I mean, it has 1 speed. So if you are fighting against an enemy with 5 speed and up, like, good luck hitting that. And right. So another good card is Mantoid. If you have the mana again. Elven Defender for case to case is also pretty strong, and Elven Cutthroat would be good to use as well. So if you're gonna use base stacks, pretty much you'll survive with the base stack. Actually, you just need to think the situation based on the enemy that you're fighting. So that's all that you need to consider, and you'll be able to rank up into silver. You know? I mean, the strategy, as I've said, is once you get to bronze 1, you don't need to rank up for the time being. Try to fight your way through. If you want to get to a high silver rank, probably at the last point of the season, of course. So it's really your strategy. If you're just after season rewards, then you can just do what I'm doing. Then just buy the last gold car at the last day and get that rank to the silver. Then that'll get you the season reward end. But if you really just want to earn DEC, you can just keep ranking as you go. But the thing is, as I've said, unless you get lucky with your reward or your loot chest or your season rewards, then you get a lot of DECs. Then it's gonna be a bit difficult, you know. I mean, it's not gonna be as flexible. At the start, my first time I played this account, I had a hard time because I couldn't rent a lot of cards. It's like the maximum money I had at that point is only 100 DEC. So the only time I started racking up DECs is because of the quest potion, because it gave me a lot more chances to get more DECs. And I got lucky in some of my chests. I got those 2,000 pack DECs, and that helped me a lot. But if you're not really gonna put any money in it, at the current state, I'm just waiting for them to put a new reward set into the reward pool, because right now all you're getting are DECs and potions, which are, you know, I mean, DEC is great, but the amount of DEC that you're getting is really small, so it's not that worth it. But yeah, so right now I don't have a guild as well. It's really hard to find a guild. I mean, at one point maybe you might just consider investing like 10,000 DEC just to build your own guild, but right now it's really hard. If you're gonna be a free deck, you can just try applying, but I don't think you'll be able to get one. I haven't gotten one. I applied to a lot of guilds, but good luck. There's a lot of people trying to get in as well. Alright, so that's about it. That's my update, and tomorrow is probably the last day, and I'm gonna be, hopefully I can get the silver rank at 1/6. That's what I'm aiming for. Oh yeah, before I forget, if you're gonna try to get your rating up, right, and let's say I stay at bronze 1, I don't go up to silver, and your rating is already good for a silver, the amount of rating points that you get per fight will stay at 20 or 19 to 20 or 18 to 20, even if you're win streaking. That's, I think, because of a control that they're using. Like, maybe from what I'm thinking, it's like it's just a control to abuse the system, right? So it takes you twice the effort to try to get a higher rating if you want, because some of the people are trying to fight for the leaderboard. So right now you'll see someone with 2,900 rating, right? I mean, this guy is good enough to be in diamond, but he's here you know, messing with the bronze levels. But I think what he's gunning for is the 30,000 DEC, which I think is worth it, probably at some point. So I don't know. I mean, for me, I don't think I'll be able to get there. 2,900 is insane, and most likely I would assume this guy. Let's look at his view battles. Look at it, gold, almost gold. Always have gold cards, gold cards, because that's the only way for him to get a bit more DEC. As I've mentioned earlier, if you just stay in bronze, you're just gonna max out at somewhere between 10 and below. So you use your incrementals like win streaks and gold cards to add up to the DEC that you're earning. So probably he just did that, and he just played it as much as he could, and up until he gets to the 30,000 DEC. I think it's well worth it, because I don't think it's even possible for you to earn 30,000 DEC in the whole season staying at bronze rank. So I think it's well worth it, probably. But we'll see. One day maybe I'll try to aim for this one, but I don't think so. Probably I'll just rank up. I mean, maybe that's one strategy, right? You try and see if you can get to the high level in the battle, in the leaderboard for this particular rank. But if you know you're not gonna get it, you're not gonna reach it, then probably just go for higher, right? I mean, just rank up. You know, there's not much you can do. All right, I think that's it. That's all I can talk about for this particular episode. I'll update you again in the start of the next season on what the plans are, how we're gonna rake up more DECs, right? Earn more, buy cards, right? So that's the plan. It's slow and steady. We'll try to build our sets. New sets are coming too, and hopefully we're prepared by that time. All right, with that, thank you guys for watching. TR out.